Welcome back to another edition of the Unknown Sports Podcast. My name is AJ Musser. Joined with me, as usual, is Hunter Harris and Austin Fyffe, our third member. What is up, fellas?
Newly on the logo, third member.
Oh, yeah. It's official as official gets now, dude.
Officially official.
Officially official.
If you're
Put
on
it
YouTube,
Facebook, Chloe.
peek down in that corner right there.
Facebook official. We're on YouTube right now.
Honestly, I think the logo is a glow up in multiple facets.
I think it got better considering we got another like decent looking human being. So like the three of us might add up to a 10 now.
Well, I had to do a lot of editing. Austin can attest that it took about 20 pictures before we got one that worked. So, you know.
Yeah. Hunter gets a lot of credit on that front because I don't take pictures.
No,
so it was really difficult to get one that worked, and Hunter plugged away at it for a while.
Yeah, I was definitely back in like 2017 on like Chloe's page, just trying to find, dude, like, does this guy have one picture of him that doesn't look like he just turned around like this?
Yep. We were about 2 seconds away from going with your prom one. 2016 prom, dude.
I even sent him some wedding photos.
How curly was your hair back then?
Just to try to get something with some lighting.
Guys, do you know it's taking place in 48 hours?
Football.
Carly doesn't. Carly doesn't know.
Yeah, Carly didn't know.
Not that I'm counting the minutes or anything, but yeah, football starts
in 48 hours, like literally.
48 hours and 9 minutes, but yeah.
How are you guys planning on watching?
On my couch, under a snuggie,
I haven't decided if I'm going to watch yet.
Haven't decided. I think I'm going to boycott this year, actually. I haven't came up with a reason yet, but I just don't think I'm going to watch.
Boycott
I'll still
it
be on the podcast, but...
Boycott it because of COVID, but don't wait until year 2 for it.
Boycotting because Le'Veon Bell's on a team now.
Yes.
Yeah, do we have any news we want to touch before we get going here?
You like that? New member, new face, new segue? You're welcome.
Well,
Le'Veon Bell signing with the Baltimore Ravens.
Is that news, though? Is that news?
No.
You're the only Le'Veon fan on this podcast, so you tell me if it's news.
I know, right?
If it's not news, then we never
news.
Have to mention his name ever again.
It's not new. I won't talk about Le'Veon Bell until he returns to relevance. If he has
Le'Veon
a game
Bell
here,
from
Michigan State.
Attaboy.
That's not hard.
Oh.
That's not hard at all. If it's recent, I got it for the most part.
For the most part.
But no, if we wanted to talk news, there was actually just released. The Washington football team is now down to 3 names that they're choosing between for their mascot. And, of course, Schefter tweeted that with a link to his podcast, so I'm not actually going to be able to tell you guys what that is, but because I'm not about to go listen to that, but apparently they're down to 3 names.
Oh, so the 3 names he mentions in the podcast?
Yeah.
Here, well, I'll see if I can sneak them out while we hit any other news here.
Let me see if someone commented under his post.
Definitely not worth it for me to go look up Adam Schefter's podcast and listen to it. Although, Hunter, you said that you listened to that Bill Simmons podcast and Peyton Manning was interviewed.
Oh, yeah. That was good stuff, actually. Recommend it.
Tell me a little bit about it. Sum it up in 20 seconds or describe it in 20 seconds for me.
Well, basically, a lot of it they talked about this thing he's doing with Eli now on, isn't it Monday nights? Isn't that what they're doing?
Yeah.
The alternative broadcast and everything, and how it's kind of that's kind of been his idea and his inception from the start. It's just getting people around to that, and now the fact that he's got Eli in that too. I'm really stoked to watch those Monday Night Football games now on ESPN2. I don't know about you guys.
I hope that they're broadcasting from a freaking living room, and they're just sitting on recliners together, mic'd up with popcorn, just watching the game. And notepads because they're both intelligent. But
just throwing darts into a dartboard that has Tom Brady's face on it.
I'm I'm not too worried about the surrounding because I think Peyton Manning is going to get whatever he wanted. Whatever he deemed to be a good idea, they had to give him literally everything to get him into the booth, especially him with his brother. So I think whatever they ended up on is what Manning wanted to do, which is ultimately what you want, is you want him to be in a situation he wants to be in so he can kind of be himself.
Also, he shut down the commissioner thing, unfortunately.
Man, that's a bummer. He would have gotten my vote. Real quick before we move on, so they got it down to 3 names, but they refused to say which 3 names.
No, they said it, but Schefter tweeted the link, didn't he?
So hang on. They gave 8 final names, and of these 8, 3 of them are their finalists, but they refused to say which ones.
Read off the 8.
That's a feel out if I've ever heard one.
Oh yeah, big time.
That's like, what do you guys think of these? But there's also the other 5. But I mean, 3 of these. So we have Red Hogs, Defenders, Gross.
Armada, Presidents, Brigade,
no.
Commanders,
no.
Red Wolves,
wrong,
and Washington Football Team.
We're keeping the football team, I guess, because those are all really bad.
Yeah, that's terrible. The Red Wolves?
What happened to
that was actually my favorite of them.
What the hell's a Red Wolf?
I think they're just trying to keep red in the name. I genuinely do. You saw it in they're Red Hogs, Red Wolves. They're supposedly trying to make the team more of the DMV, so that the DC, Maryland, Virginia area as a whole, rather than just Washington DC, which kind of leads me towards the Brigade because of the Navy presence in that area. If it's trying to be more of an encompassing feel of that general area, that still keeps kind of a political type attention with it being the capital, and then also the military in there as well.
What happened with them naming the team after the Tuskegee Airmen and what their nickname was?
They said they wanted no part of anything that was going to be related to indigenous people at all. They wanted to totally remove themselves from that situation.
Because I thought that was the best one. I can't remember what that nickname was at the moment.
I don't either. It was, I liked the...
It was really good, though. And I was like, wow, and you're doing it for a good cause. But yeah, I guess I hear what you're saying in the fact that they chose to go a different route so that they didn't offend any more indigenous people.
Yeah, I don't remember the name
of
it.
I guess I can understand that. Even though that was the better of all of those names that you just read off.
So
they should just come back 2 years later with just the Washington Indians. Just lean into it even more.
Chief Wahoo is the logo.
Oh man.
All right. I think it's that time for us to dive in to our weekly predictions. And we're also going to give a little bit of season preview of what we think each team is going to look like as we come across them in our previews. So let's start with Thursday night football. We've got the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hunter, kick us off here, dude. What do you think about Tampa Bay this year?
I just love hearing you say Tampa Bay again.
Is that not how it's pronounced? I thought they changed the city.
He trademarked it.
I believe so.
Are we going to owe money when we have to do this?
What do you have a spread for this game, AJ?
Yeah.
It is Tampa Bay -8.
Okay. -8. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm still taking Tampa Bay in this game. Historically speaking, Super Bowl teams usually that get the first game of the season again blow out the other team. It's just momentum that they carry in the next year. Plus the Cowboys, they suck, man. Come on. McCarthy's a terrible coach. They're going to have a terrible year. If they're good at all, it's because that offense is going to be awesome. So give me the Buccaneers in the first game of the season.
You, Austin?
Oh, I didn't know that was my cue. Yeah, I'm with you, Hunter. Dallas for a little bit of different reasons. Dallas missing Zach Martin because of COVID protocols is absolutely huge. Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh are just going to obliterate the interior of that line. The line is not what everybody thinks it is. It hasn't been for a few years now. Everybody there's a lot of people that are still assuming this is a top 3 offensive line in football. It's just not. So there's that question mark. Zeke's numbers have been down with banged up offensive line. And then you add on the fact that Dak is maybe going to be 100%, kind of, depending on which report you look at. So you factor all those things into a homecoming for a Super Bowl ceremony, and Brady leading a team that, you historically can count on him not having a letdown game in this spot. So I think Tampa wins big.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think it's going to be a blow up. I'm going Tampa Bay in this one. To me, Tampa Bay is kind of just going to cruise through this season. I think they'll hit some rough patches, but I'm going to bet that their rough patches are going to be people just getting banged up. Other than that, I don't see them really having any rough patches this whole season because they worked out all the kinks last season. And unless someone makes adjustments to their team that they need to figure out, I think they're going to kind of cruise this season. Cowboys, though, I think that offense has the talent to be like a Super Bowl caliber offense. Their only thing holding them back is a really bad defense and a really bad coaching staff. The offensive line, I agree with you, Austin. It's not top 5 anymore. Maybe it's top 15 though. I don't think it's a bottom. I don't think it's a bottom half of the league offensive line. It's just not the elite offensive line anymore. But I mean, and then the weapons they have on that team, if Dak's healthy, I mean, that receiving core is one of the best in the league. And if Zeke looks good this offseason. He's looking like he's moving pretty well. And if he plays better than he did last year, I think that Cowboys offense is going to be good. I think they'll be entertaining to watch this year at least. The only way I think this game's close is if it's a shootout, which I don't think the Bucs defense is going to allow it to be a shootout. So I'm going Tampa Bay by 2 scores.
Random thought that just popped into my head. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about a comparison between Dallas this year and Arizona last year? Super fun to watch. A team that's going to put up some points and a defense you can't rely on. I think they're more talented overall on offense. And obviously they're in a much worse division, so that it might result to some better wins. I don't know, just something popped in.
I don't like that because to me, the Cardinals never had a chance to win their division where the Cowboys do. They have a chance to win their division.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're going to. We went over that, but Arizona never had a chance to win that division last year, going through the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks. The Cowboys really just have to compete with Washington, in my opinion.
I'm more saying like from
the way their team's built.
Yeah, the way their team's built and kind of the trajectory of themselves. Yeah, I mean, obviously Arizona has 3 playoff caliber teams ahead of them in that division. But I mean, I get what you're saying from that. The end of the season result is probably going to be much different than that. But I think
the comp to me from last year is honestly just the Cowboys until Dak got hurt. They're going to be the exact same team. Going to put up a whole bunch of points, and they're going to give up a whole bunch of points and lose in embarrassing fashion. So
you're telling me they're going to be fun to watch every week. McCarthy's adjusted?
Dude, people were. Do you remember? Were you ever on the side that Mike McCarthy was not the issue and that it was Rodgers? People really had that take a couple years ago.
I see. I'm going to go here and trust you because you are the one that is the Packers fan, so you pay attention to that team a lot more than normal. I genuinely do not remember any of that because I feel like I would have lost it on people online.
Terry Bradshaw still goes to bat for Mike McCarthy over Rodgers on the pregame shows.
If you think Terry Bradshaw's a credible opinion, we have a general.
I'm just saying that was a real thing out there for a long time.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw's got quite a few of those opinions, though.
Yeah, so
he's gotten hit on the head, and he's more known for his acting these days. All right, let's move on to our next game of the day, or first game of Sunday. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta favored by 3 points. Austin, you go ahead and lead us off on this one.
I don't like either one of these teams all year or on Sunday. I think both of these teams are going to be really bad. I think the Eagles are going to be really bad. I'm way down on them this year. I don't love Hurts. I'm not a big fan of their hire in Nick Sirianni, and I don't like really anything that they've got going with them. The defense has got holes everywhere. The offensive line keeps getting older. Zach Ertz wants no part of being there. The receiving core is very, very young, and all of it puts together with just a really bad season overall. So I'm going to take Atlanta here, just banking on maybe having a new coach at home in his first game and trusting Matt Ryan a lot more than I trust Jalen Hurts.
See, I'm taking Atlanta as well, but I think that unlike the Eagles, the Falcons actually improved. I think their defense got a little bit better, especially with Deion Jones back. I think that defense is going to be able to compete a little bit more last year, whereas last year they were just a welcome mat. They were just getting walked over every week. And I still think that offense is going to be able to put up points, but now I think the defense, I don't think it's going to be a top 15 defense in the league. It's going to be towards the bottom half, but I think they're going to be able to compete more on Sundays. Whereas the Eagles, I think this is a year where Philadelphia fans get ready to just watch miserably. I think you're just scouting talent for future years this year.
Yeah. I'm going with the Falcons as well here, but I'm going with a little bit of a different reason. As bad as I think the Eagles are going to be this year, I think that the Falcons have a real opportunity here to turn a corner. I think Arthur Smith is going to do a good job coaching that team. I like what he did in Tennessee. Austin, I know you don't like Tannehill. Look what he made Tannehill into and what that team into on offense. Now he's got Matt Ryan, who's a substantially better quarterback than Tannehill is. And
substantially?
Yeah, man. Do you disagree with that? I don't want to get into this right now. Are you serious? You really think that's close?
Substantially, I feel like is a big word. I think he's a better quarterback.
Yeah. Substantially, yeah, because Matt Ryan hasn't been very good since he had Kyle Shanahan as his coach and won an MVP. But since
he's been
then,
top 5 in passing yards every year. But he.
Okay, so throw it when you're down 30.
Real quick, out of 10, rate Ryan and Tannehill.
Oh my gosh, Tannehill.
Just real quick, and then we'll move on.
6 and 7, with the edge to Matty Ice.
Tannehill's a 6, and I'd take Ryan at like an 8. I like Ryan.
I do too. Don't count me as a Matty Ice hater. I'm not. I like some Matt Ryan, but I don't think that that's a very big bridge. Go ahead, Hunter. Continue with your take.
I just think that they're going to turn a little bit of a corner this year is all I'm saying. That offensive line is still really bad, and that's going to be their downfall on offense. But I think they can manufacture enough points with Arthur Smith and be creative enough to be in a lot of games. But in this case, playing against the Eagles, and you said they're at home, right?
Yeah, Falcons are at home.
It's a home game.
Yeah, give me the Falcons -3. So,
all right, next on the list we've got, to me, this is the first really good game we're going to talk about, is the Steelers opening their season at Buffalo playing the Bills, and the Bills are favored by 6.5 at home. That seems pretty big, doesn't it? Or are you guys down on Pittsburgh this year, like Vegas is apparently, like the desert?
I am personally. I don't think that Ben has it anymore. I think if they're gonna be a good team, it's gonna be a team that relies solely on that defense and relies a lot on running the ball on Najee Harris. And he has to be good this year. And I think that their running game over the past few years has been a result of that line play and less of who they have running the ball. I don't love Buffalo this year to be some people are taking them as the number 1 seed, whatever it might be. I am not on them like that, but in week 1, I am on them like that. Give me a -6.5.
Go ahead, AJ.
This is one I was a little bit slower on picking because I don't know why. I don't have any reason for it, but I feel like the Bills are going to get off to a slower start, and it's just a gut feeling. There's I have no support for it, but I'm still taking the Bills because I think that this Pittsburgh team led by Big Ben, I feel like they're going to be that team that scores like 17 or 20 points a game. Just can't put up I bet they'll score over 33 times this season in 17 weeks is what I'm saying. I just don't think they're going to have the scoring production, whereas the Bills are very explosive, and I think they're going to win this one.
Yeah. To me, outside of Minka, Pittsburgh's secondary isn't great, and Buffalo's going to throw the crap out of the ball. Pittsburgh's strengths to that defense is that front seven. Devin Bush is awesome. Stephen Tuitt's awesome. TJ Watt's awesome. But those guys are going to be nullified a little bit with Buffalo passing the ball 75% of the time. They got a ton of weapons. They added Emmanuel Sanders this last season. I don't think this game's going to be close at all. This was one of the easiest picks on the board for me.
And you know what is actually surprising about that? The public money, 62% of the public money is on the Steelers plus 3.5 or 2.5.
What did they have?
Not 2.5. Excuse me, 6.5. I apologize.
Oh man, yeah. We also should mention with the Pittsburgh Buffalo game that T.J. Watt and the issues he's been having. He wants a new contract. He has made that very obvious. Now reports are out that he might even be willing to sit out during the season.
Does he deserve a new contract?
Yeah, absolutely. With Pittsburgh, though, they've got some kind of standard franchise rules where they don't like to extend anyone before the final year of their contract. They also have like a quote unquote rule for them that they don't negotiate with players during the season. So that is a very hard deadline that's coming up with the best player on their team. And it needs to be resolved or else this spread is going to go through the roof, I think.
Wasn't there something about him being team captain or something that he was like?
He also, allegedly he was not picked to be a team captain this year.
The players picked that, though. Maybe his teammates don't like him.
Maybe not. Maybe he's not a team guy. I mean, can you really afford to pay somebody that the players don't like?
Michael's literally shaking right now.
All right. Next on our list.
Do we just start talking about stuff that would just make Michael like irate, like want to punch his steering wheel as he's listening to this on his way to work?
It's really easy to figure out if we have any Steelers listeners or not after this episode.
I think they should just trade TJ Watt for like a 3rd-round pick.
Dude, honestly, if I was
they can get a 3rd?
If I was like the Packers or something, like who did we take before they took TJ Watt? Like literally one pick after us. Who did we draft? It was some awful player. Who was it? I gotta look this up.
Why did you say we like we knew?
Equanimous St. Brown.
It was like EQ or
Jordan Love.
No, it wasn't Jordan Love.
All right, let's move on to the next game. We've got the Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals. Minnesota's a 3-point favorite in this one. What do you guys think on this one? Your NFC North rival, the Minnesota Vikings, that you guys have a mutual hate for, which is kind of romantic.
I know, right?
I don't think hate's the right word. I just think they're annoying.
They're just obnoxious.
Yeah,
they're disgusting.
They act like they're relevant. They're not. They act like they're part of a rivalry with the Packers. They're not. Like, they just are doing everything they can to not be the other team with the Lions, and they are, and they need to accept that.
You think if we reached out to Nick Swardson to come on our show for 5 minutes just to talk about the Vikings as you guys did this and just let him tear us a new one? I think that'd be hilarious.
Oh, it'd be great. I mean, he'd never do it, but
I'll send him his DMs real quick.
Oh, hey, before we move on real quick, what happened before the TJ Watt pick was we traded out of that pick. And you know who we traded it to? The Cleveland Browns. You know who the Cleveland Browns
Johnny Manziel?
took? No. They took Njoku, AJ.
Yikes.
Is he on the roster still?
Yeah.
He's the number 2 tight end.
Number 2.
Yeah, behind Austin Hooper.
Behind Hooper. Anyway, sorry.
That's a really too much. Your quarterback's still the third stringer, so.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead,
all right,
Austin.
Yeah, Vikings talk. Bengals, either one.
On the Vikings. No one cares. I'll move on quickly because no one cares about the Vikings and no one cares about the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to be a little better. I think they're going to be kind of fun to watch because they're going to throw the ball a lot. I think Burrow's going to put up some big numbers this year, but I don't think they're going to be competitive. I think it's going to be a lot of kind of stat compiling later in games when they have to throw the ball every down. But give me Minnesota -3. Not because I love them, but because I just don't think the Bengals are going to be in a good spot here.
Yeah, I took the Vikings as well. Not too high on the Bengals this year at all. Not very high on the Vikings either, but I think the Vikings at least put it together to. I think this week 1 game will tell you a lot about the Vikings this year. If they win, it's like, hey, we'll compete in some games this season. But if they lose, it's going to be a down year. If they lose week 1 at the Bengals, it's going to be tough.
Which is why I'm taking the Bengals to win this game outright. I don't think that the Vikings have much of anything at all this year. I don't think the Bengals do either, to be fair. But they are at home here, and I'm getting 3.5 points. I'm going to take the Bengals. I think they can win this game outright. I think that Minnesota is just going to be really bad this year. I think they're going to struggle to put up points, to be honest.
Even with Justin Jefferson and is it because Kirk's not vaccinated? Does that affect your throwing arm?
I don't know. They got him sitting in a glass box in the QB room, and I don't know the dimensions of this box, and it might be throwing his shoulder out of whack.
Which team do we think is going to lose their starting quarterback first?
Oh God!
We already saw.
Don't do
this. I was.
Are we predicting
injuries
now?
No. I mean, for a COVID-related reason.
Oh, okay.
No, not injuries. I won't wish that on anyone. But we already saw with Zach Martin. That's a key piece. It's an offensive lineman, not a quarterback. But I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up an issue in Minnesota.
Did you see Martin was actually vaccinated too?
Yeah, it's 5 days though.
Yeah, 5 days. Yeah. Especially if he's not showing any symptoms too. So.
Yeah, it turns out an offensive guard is not worth the billion-dollar machine that is the NFL.
All right. Next on the list, we've got 49ers at the Lions. Detroit with a home opener that they're going to lose in. San Francisco favored by 7.5 on the road. What do you guys think on this one? I mean, it's not.
I think
we're all taking the Niners, right?
I think the better question would be, at what point spread would you consider taking Detroit?
15.5.
I'm really, really tempted here to take Detroit. 75% of the people, or excuse me, 75% of the public money is on San Francisco minus 7.5. 80% of the people are behind it too. So the money and the public are both behind the Niners here this week. It is killing me, but I'm going to go with the Niners. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Did Detroit's defense get any better this season? Like in the offseason?
They have the worst roster in football. And
Next
Houston
to Houston
Texans exist.
Yeah,
I can't say that, because Detroit does have a sneaky, really good offensive line. And I think that might cause some problems for some teams that are overlooking them throughout the year. They might be able to. They might sneak up on a couple teams and maybe either keep it really close or sneak out a win, just because they can hang around with a good offensive line. But not against San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan's too good of a coach to overlook them.
Well, they have to look out too. They could be jumping up, biting kneecaps at any point in time here.
I didn't consider that. We should do some research on Dan Campbell type coaches and how they do in their openers.
Yeah, and the type of face mask he makes his players wear. I wonder if we're going to see any single bar helmets this year so that they have their mouth more accessible to get to a kneecap.
Screw it. I'm doing it. I'm taking the Lions, dude. Put me down for the Lions, Austin. I'm taking the Lions plus 7.
I like it.
It's 7.5.
7.5, so even better. Let's go, baby.
You can have that.
Let's go.
You're going to be really mad when Trey Lance comes in for a Wildcat 2-point conversion and breaks the spread.
Yes.
All right, what do we got next, AJ?
Cardinals at Titans. Tennessee, a 3-point favorite at home to open the season. I think this one will be kind of entertaining.
I don't.
Cardinals offense against a bad Titans defense, and a good Titans offense against a bad Arizona defense. I'm taking the Titans in this one because I have them winning the division, so I think they need to start their year out with a win. Cardinals are going to be in 4th place, so they're going to pick up a bunch of losses this season, and this is just going to be the first of many.
What did you have as that spread, AJ?
3.
That's it? Damn.
Yeah.
It's Titans over here, too. You guys know how I feel about the Cards.
Not a big J.J. Watt fan.
Nope.
Man, I was hoping the spread was more than 3. I do think this is going to be a close game. I wish I could alternately pick the over instead. Yeah, give them to me. Give me the Cardinals. I think Kyler's going to have a huge year. I think I've made it known on this podcast how I feel about Tennessee this year. I'm going to stick to my gun. We'll take the Cardinals +3 here, and they may even take it outright.
How big of a leap do you think Kyler Murray's going to take this year? Like, what do you foresee the season being like for him? Because I feel like with Cliff Kingsbury, it's not going to be as much as it could be with a better coach. I don't know who that better coach is, but
I think he's going to potentially break some records this year.
Yep.
Like a 4,000, 1,000 season?
Maybe. I mean, it's going to be close. Like, everything in that offense revolves around him. And that's why I'm so high on him this year. Maybe a little dark horse action on Kyler to win MVP. If any of you guys betting, listen to it. I don't know what the odds are, but I bet you could get a pretty good odds out there for that right now. If Arizona ends up a playoff team or close to it, Kyler definitely belongs in that conversation. I don't think they're quite going to be there, but I don't think they're finishing last in this division.
What are you laughing at, AJ?
Austin said like 13 times in 20 seconds.
It happens.
I think what you said was great, Austin.
I'm sorry. It was just
hey,
I'm sorry.
Over-under for that game was 51. You should get on that, Austin.
Oh, yeah.
75% of the money's on under, too, right now. Please go get on that.
What?
Yeah, get on that before that moves.
Yep. I'm literally going to do it while we finish the podcast.
There you go, baby.
Next on the list, we've got the Seattle Seahawks at the Indianapolis Colts. Hunter, you're pretty high on the Colts this season, but they are 2.5-point underdogs against Seattle at home.
Yeah, they're going to win this game, though. They're winning this game. 100%.
Tell me more.
You're at home. I really like what the Colts are putting together this year. Defense goes without saying. And Seattle, man, I like Russell Wilson a lot, and I've been a Russell Wilson supporter for years now. I don't think that this is a complete team that can even come close to getting anywhere far in the playoffs. They might sneak in again. I don't think that they're anything worth the hype that they're getting. Give me the Colts here. What?
So you don't think the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs?
It's going to be
the
close.
Seahawks are going to finish last in the division.
Last?
Bold choice.
Yep.
I just can't see that. And I think I picked them at second in the division only because I don't see Russell Wilson coming in 3rd or 4th place. That's the only thing that prevents me from doing it because I don't like that team.
Dude, he was really bad the back half of last year.
And Pete Carroll has made it clear he does not want Russell Wilson throwing the ball all over the place. And the back half of the year, they ran the ball more, and Russell Wilson struggled, and that defense is not good.
Yeah, no,
well, this reason they started too. He was throwing the ball all over the place at the beginning of the season, and he started throwing a lot of picks. He started making a lot of bad decisions. You can't say if it wasn't a little bit self-inflicted there. I like Russell Wilson, but he didn't play well.
No, he didn't. They've got great weapons, but I think this is the last year that Seattle gets benefit of the doubt with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson being at the helm. Something's got to get mixed up in some fashion out there. And if they're just going to keep doing more of the same, the league continues to figure them out. Their trajectory has been going down for a few years now. And I think this is going to continue this year.
I think you let Russ cook, and if Russ can't cook the whole season and he can't lead the team to a 2nd place finish, then I think it's pretty clear that Russell Wilson's not that guy.
I agree, AJ, but they've
not
came
that
out
guy,
and said
pal.
multiple times that
I know they're not going to. I'm just saying, in my opinion, if I'm the coach, if I'm Pete Carroll, that's what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. But I have the Seahawks winning this game because I don't like how the Colts offseason has gone. Their training camp is what I mean specifically with all their injuries and COVID stuff. I just don't think they're going to be ready to play. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to be in sync with anyone.
If he's playing.
I don't care for that receiving core very much either. Like, I just don't, not fond of the Colts this season. Moving on. Next, we've got a low key. I think this is going to be a pretty good matchup. Is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Washington Football Team, and the Chargers are a 1-point favorite. Austin, get me started with this one.
You said Washington was a 1-point favorite?
No, the Chargers are a 1-point favorite.
1-point favorite, my bad. Essentially, pick them here. Give me Washington. Yep. I like Fitzpatrick. I like the upgrades they've done on offense, bringing in Curtis Samuel. They kept that offensive line intact. The offense is going to be better. The defense is awesome. Best defensive line in football. And it's across the board, at least. Chase Young is going to be a freak. We saw in the preseason the couple times that he played. I'm just going to keep saying now because you brought it up to my attention, AJ.
I wasn't even looking at you for that there.
So Chase Young used his hands in the preseason, unlike he's used his hands in the previous years. So if you're going to tell me that guy that was that good last year has added arguably the best thing that a defensive end can add to his game, he might be scary good. He might put up defensive player of the year type numbers this year because that defense is so good. But yeah, give me Washington for sure.
Austin, best case scenario, how far does this Washington team go in the playoffs?
Divisional round. Best case scenario for me.
Best case scenario?
Yeah.
I don't think it's crazy to say the championship game. I mean, if you're telling me everything breaks the right way, if you're telling me I get good Ryan Fitzpatrick, you've got weapons, and you have the best defense in the NFC, those are all obviously best case scenarios for all of the things. But I think best case scenario, I think the NFC Championship game isn't out of the question.
I love it.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick with a 35 touchdown, 10 interception season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I think that's going to happen, but if you
no, I know, I'm saying like that's best case. Like
yeah. I mean, if it's totally best case, yeah, I think it's there.
Yeah, I think divisional round. I think it's a good team, and I think it's a competitive divisional game. I just don't see Ryan Fitzpatrick. As a NFC Championship quarterback.
They gave Brady Fitz with Taylor Heineke.
I know, but you need Fitzpatrick to come in and play like a clutch playoff game, and has he ever had to do that?
He's never played in a playoff game.
Yeah. That's a different animal. I don't know. I don't see it.
I'm not saying it does happen, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah. I took the Chargers because I don't know. I in my opinion, I think the Chargers are the underdogs in this team because their defense isn't great. Offensive line's not great.
That's a hot take.
What?
Their defense isn't great?
Let's see how Derwin James does. He hasn't played in 2 years.
Joey Bosa, one of the best secondaries in football.
Yeah.
They're always good until about week 4 when everybody gets hurt. So,
right. But we're in week 1.
So we're good right now.
I'm taking the Chargers, though.
I'm taking Washington here, too, Austin. I don't really have to tell you guys about my love for Fitzpatrick as much. I like the Chargers this year. I really think that they made a good hire with their coach. And as far as hiring positional coaches go, too. But I just like Washington a lot. That defense is really good. And they got a quarterback now. So I'm going to take Washington at home here. If I'm setting up my games this week for noon, I don't know. I'm debating taking Red Zone off the main TV, and I'm going to put this game on the main TV, and then the rest of them on the outside.
Yeah.
Really? You're going to put Chargers Washington football team on the main screen.
For the main screen for my noon slate.
All right. Next on the list, we've got the New York sad-faced Jets at the Carolina Panthers. Carolina's a 5.5-point favorite in this one. Zach Wilson in his opening day game. Sam Darnold revenge game. I'm going Sam Darnold, and I'm going the Carolina Panthers in this one. I think he's going to have a sneaky good first 4 weeks of the season and could be a nice fantasy quarterback for the first 4 weeks.
I think Sam Darnold is set up perfectly to make the Carolina Panthers regret it. I think I really believe in Joe Brady. I really believe in
Matt the Panthers regret it?
Yep. And I'll explain myself here.
Okay.
He's in a contract here. They have to make a decision. And I think he might play really good against bad teams because there's really good coaching. And he's got DJ Moore and he's got Robbie Anderson and he has Christian McCaffrey. And I think Sam Darnold might convince them of the exact opposite of what they should do in earning himself a little bit of a contract here. I'm not saying it's mega money, but they don't have a solution. And they're not going to be good enough to be picking in that top 3 or 4 to get a quarterback next year. At least I don't think. I think he might screw around and earn himself a little contract extension here that really halts the progression that Carolina has been on since Rule took over.
Austin, do you remember a couple years ago when Trubisky came out on fire against awful competition and people were talking about him as an MVP candidate and better than Rodgers in his own division already?
Yeah, that was a really bad article. Let's let's not go that far. But yeah.
Is this kind of how you're seeing it with him? Just gonna
kind of, yeah. I think that's a pretty good comp.
Okay.
Obviously I'm not a huge believer in Darnold. It feels like there's always a guy that overperforms and kind of puts himself in a better spot than he deserves. And I really like the coaching staff, and I think they might accidentally put themselves in a really bad spot.
Yep. That's exactly why I think he's going to have a good first 4 weeks. And people are going to talk about him like, wow, he really wasn't a bust. And really, he's not going to play as well for the rest of his career as he will this first 4 weeks of the season. Anything else to add?
I didn't even make a pick yet. I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah.
Give me Zach Wilson in his first NFL game, baby, covering the spread. You're gonna be picking Mr. Wilson a couple times this year for cover some backdoor spreads here. Need it.
I bet you'll cover your backdoor. All right. Next on the list, we've got the Jaguars and the Houston Texans. Jacksonville 2.5-point favorite. Trevor Lawrence first game. Urban Meyer's first NFL game. I'm not watching this game.
No.
Especially since Gardner Minshew's not playing. Like, not watching. Don't care that it's Lawrence's first game. It's going to be ugly. I'm going with Jacksonville, though, because Houston's so bad. Not that Jacksonville's good, but I see them scoring.
Houston's starting Tyrod, by the way.
It's actually pronounced Tyrod. I don't know if you watched. What a
callback!
I know.
Did we ever address the Kelsey thing, or have we decided what our stance is on that? Speaking of pronunciations, I know that's our next.
It's going to be Kelsey. I'm not changing.
I'm not either. I'm too stubborn. He said he didn't care. That's good enough for me. It's Jacksonville for me. I don't think Houston's going to win a game this year. I think they're going to be super uncompetitive. Tyrod is not a good quarterback. He's shown that. They have a horrible roster. And they're in a bad division with Jacksonville, and I still think Jacksonville beats them both times.
If they were at a neutral site, this game would be 5.5 Jacksonville. That's kind of crazy to think about to me.
They can play in New Orleans if they want.
I know, right?
I think that stadium.
They want to be standing in water. I'm going to take Jacksonville too, even though I don't care. Whatever. Screw it.
Austin, who did you take? Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that talk. Let's move on. Next, I think we've got what could be the game of the week that people are saying, but it's not going to be. The Cleveland Browns at the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City 6-point favorites. Hunter, I'll let you lead this one off. You got a little smirk. I see it. A little grin.
Cleveland's covering the spread. Maybe even winning the game. I don't know. Maybe. I'm taking Cleveland just because, like I said earlier when we were doing our division preview and picks, I think they're just going to be a little bit refocused this year. Stefanski knows what he has to do to win games. And I like the matchup here. I think Baker's going to be able to toss it around against this Kansas City secondary, and be able to establish the run for sure in this game. I like the Browns to cover the spread. I don't know if they're going to win it, but I like them to cover.
Go ahead, AJ. I'm trying to find a stat real quick.
All right. I've got the Chiefs covering the spread, or going over it. I do think, though, that the Browns have a chance to cover the spread. I don't think they're going to win because of my golden rule of not picking against Patrick Mahomes. That serves me pretty well with my picks. But the Chiefs' defense typically starts out pretty slow, and they piece it together as the season goes on, and then it's finally ready for the postseason. So I think that's the Browns' chance of sticking it to them and scoring points and staying in this game. But also the Browns have a lot of new pieces on their defense, and they're really good pieces, but they haven't played a real game yet, and they're going up against Patrick Mahomes in the first game of the season, so I don't see them starting the season out with a winning record.
You're correct, AJ. It's Kansas City because of Patrick Mahomes. And I know everybody talks about how great Patrick Mahomes is. People need to put more respect on Patrick Mahomes in the month of September. Patrick Mahomes in his career in the month of September is 10-0 with 32 touchdowns and 0 picks. He averages 330 passing yards a game. He absolutely dices people up in the first part of the year. They're not ready. He always is. Andy Reid is always on it. And it's not going to change anything this week.
That's what I was going to say, too. I think it's a bigger credit to Andy Reid that he has that offense prepared for week one to go out and score points, because he takes advantage of those first 3 September games and walk away with dubs. And every weekend he can in September. And it stinks. The Browns, one of the other 31 teams had to do it and draw the short straw and play Kansas City week 1. And it's just, unfortunately, the Browns.
Yeah.
We'll be able to tell a little bit about this Browns team in if they compete in this game and how close this game is going. Like, if it comes down to the wire, I'm going to be satisfied unless it's something stupid that kind of ruins it for them. But if they can stick with Kansas City, I think that'll be a good sign, because I think Kansas City is going to come out with their heads on fire.
6.5 just sounds like a lot for week 1 for a team that's
just 6.
Yeah.
It's just 6. Still. It just seems like a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, too, I guess if we're going back to what you were talking about, if it's neutral site, you take, 3 points away?
Yeah.
It'd only be Kansas City by 3 then.
Yeah.
But, home game, Kansas City Chiefs fans at Arrowhead are super loud.
The opposing fans in the stadium are pretty loud, too, because it's about 75% of that.
All right. Do you guys have anything else to add with either of those two teams for this season?
Nope.
No, I'm good.
Moving on, then. We've got the Fins in the fish tank at the New England Patriots. Dolphins, Patriots, New England 3-point favorites. I'll start this one off. I think the Patriots are going to put their foot down and say, hey, we're here to compete this year. And I don't have a lot of faith in Tua. So I'm going to go Patriots.
Same here. Same reasoning. Even though the public money is 75% in the favor of the Patriots, I'm going to take the Patriots -2.
Wherever you're at, Hunter. I was on the fence about this pick, and it's that's the cake taker for me. I'm going to take Miami. They're a solid team, really good defense. I think the under is a slam pick here.
I agree with that.
But yeah, give me Miami plus the points. Mac Jones' first start. Brian Flores is a really good defensive coach, and I think he's going to make it a problem. He was good in the preseason, but to put a whole game together against a really good defense in this first start is going to be a challenge, and I think Miami takes it here.
Next on the list, we've got the Green Bay Packers at the New Orleans Saints. That game's going to get played in Jacksonville. Packers 4-point favorites. Austin, I'll let you start this one out.
I'm with you, Hunter. The line is super weird, and it almost once makes me want to take New Orleans.
Don't do it, man.
No one's smarter than Vegas. They show that every single week of every single year. And this line is screaming bet Green Bay. So I'm going to bet the Saints. I'm going to take New Orleans, not because it's what I think is going to happen, but sometimes you just have to do what Vegas says rather than what you think.
I'm going the Packers. I don't trust how the Saints are going to open the season. I think that's going to take them a few weeks to figure out this offense and how they really want to look and what their personality is. And I think it's going to take some growing pains to figure it out if they ever figure it out. Whereas I think the Packers know what their offense is and they're going to come out and score points. So I think that's an easy Packers one.
Do you guys really believe in the fact that the narrative is with the Saints is that Jameis can get it done if Sean Payton reels him in, and makes him play his way? Do you guys believe any of that stuff? Because I personally just am like, I don't believe that at all.
I mean, he had the eye surgery, dude. He can see. There's no way he can't have a 40-40 season now.
20/20 vision, 40-40 season.
He's the first 30-30 quarterback ever. He might as well be the first 40-40.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if there's a guy to do it, it's Sean Payton. But Jameis is just really bad. Like, his decision making is really, really bad. They don't have a lot of wide receivers. They don't even have Michael Thomas the first 6 weeks. I think New Orleans is going to have a more rough season than what people expect. And like I said with my pick, I agree with everything you guys were saying. This is just one where I'm going to go against my gut.
I don't believe in Jameis either. He's 27 now. What year is this in the league for him? Is this year 5? Maybe even more than that.
It should be more than that. I think it's like 7.
6 or 7.
When guys are this old in the league, they don't change. I don't think he's going to change at all. Ryan Tannehill, did he change a whole lot, or was he just put into a good system where he didn't have to make any? Does
Jameis Winston have to change a whole lot, or does he have to be put with a good coach?
I mean, that's a great question. I think that he has to change if he's going to adapt to be in this position, because he just flings it, man. It's not like
he at least had Bruce Arians, though.
Yeah, but
Bruce Arians is a great coach.
And, yeah, but it was only for 1 year.
And he was like,
30.
Yeah, and he threw for 5,000 yards.
He threw 30 interceptions.
I'm
30
not
picks,
saying
dude.
It was great, but it was. Again, you have to fix his decision making, but it takes more than an off season to fix someone's whole mentality about playing quarterback.
Anyways,
yeah, I'm with you that if anyone's going to do it and anyone's going to get his career on track to what it could have been, I think it's now with Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Dude, I think if Bruce Arians couldn't do it, then Sean Payton can't do it, personally.
I'm of the belief of this is Jameis's final straw, so I think we're going to see the best we can get out of him. I don't know if it lasts 16 games. I think we're going to get at least a very solid stretch of Jameis here.
At some point this season.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know that it's going to be at the beginning or the middle or the end or whatever it may be, but we'll see.
Next up, we've got Broncos at the New York Danny Dimes football Giants. This is the kind of game last year that I would have said, dude, my boy Danny Dimes is going to go out there and help me with this one. But Denver 3-point favorites. Yeah. I have zero faith in the Giants this year. Like none.
So
Even
where are
with
you at
Saquon
with Daniel
back.
Jones?
He's a trash can.
Give me a few weeks, dude. I don't know. I gotta evaluate and see how he looks.
It's not the world we live in, AJ.
He's
You
bad.
have to decide right now.
He's
I'm
bad.
the
You're in or out for the
host
whole
of
year.
this podcast. I can do whatever the heck I want.
So are we in majority rules. You have to decide right now.
Austin's face is on the logo. You're listening to what he says.
You may not like it, but you have to listen to it.
I mean, we were just talking about quarterbacks that didn't have good head coaches to start their career. Daniel Jones didn't either.
Yeah, but it's still the same guy.
I know, and he's got Jason Garrett calling the plays, so it's like there's no chance of success for you this season. Like, if you show any glimmer of hope, it's him, not Jason Garrett. We know what Jason Garrett is. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a really, really ugly season for the Giants. I think they're gonna have a top 10 pick easy.
I agree. Give me the Broncos because they're starting Bridgewater this week, right?
Correct.
Yeah, they're going to play really conservative.
That to me is a big key to Denver's whole season.
Yeah,
the defense is going to be really, really good.
Yep.
And outside of a couple games where they have to play in the division with the Chargers and with the Chiefs, where they're going to have to put up points, these bad teams, I think Denver's going to beat up on, and Denver's going to kind of find themselves in the hunt by default towards the end of the year. Because they beat up on the bad teams because of a good defense and just taking care of the ball, which is exactly what Vic Fangio wants to do.
To me, though, that's what teams do that separate themselves from the middle of the pack is they beat the bad teams. The Browns, for example, last year is the first season ever in my entire lifetime that the Cleveland Browns beat the bad teams.
Yeah, that's how you get to mediocre, though.
I know. That's what I agree with you. Yes. And I think that the Broncos are going to do that, and I think they'll sneak out a few decent wins.
Yeah. Peyton always used to say his goal every year was win every game when he's at home, and when he's on the road, try to steal a couple against those types of teams. So I'm with you, AJ. And by the way, a little fantasy tidbit for anybody out there that's playing in leagues with defenses. Disgusting. Get rid of that. But if you have to stream a defense this week, stream the Broncos. There's going to be free points out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Light schedule to begin with. They're a good first 4 weeks type of team.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Broncos defense over under half a touchdown?
They won't score a touchdown, but they'll get a couple fumble recoveries and some picks.
Give it to me. Give me a touchdown.
I would take the touchdown.
Really?
You get pretty good odds on that.
Yep. I would take that.
Why'd they choose this as the Sunday night game? This next game? That's Sunday night.
I can tell you exactly why. The reason why is because of this guy.
Nice.
I didn't know you ordered a
Justin
jersey.
Fields.
Let's go.
Justin Fields is the reason the Bears are in primetime. The problem is Justin Fields is not playing in this game. Okay? This will be yet another absolute beatdown that the Bears get on national television. Give me the Rams. I don't care how many points it is. You can give me 18.5 if you want. This Rams team is a Super Bowl contender. They're an absolute legit team. They're opening up the stadium to fans for the first time. All 12 of them from Los Angeles that decide to come to a game. And then Matt Stafford is awesome. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The league's finally going to see it. It's national television with finally having a good head coach. They're awesome. They're really good. The Bears are not. The Bears offensive line is going to be playing their second week together of the entire training camp with their offensive line that's going into the regular season together, which is really good to play Aaron Donald. That works out super good. So I'm super excited for them to just get absolutely embarrassed and then get to deal with the Bears are not that good talk right from week one. Super exciting.
Do you guys think Matt Stafford's going to look at this as a stick it to you game and he's just going to come out and slinging the ball around really well?
I think you lagged there, AJ.
Yeah.
No, I had to mute myself because I used different words.
No, I don't think so, because I don't think the Bears have ever been, any sort of hated rivalry for him. He's always had good things to say about the other teams in the division.
It's a quarterback. He has to say good things. They have to say good things about other teams.
But I genuinely think Stafford is just upset at Detroit. So I don't think it's necessarily for never helping him out. I know he went on a huge thing about Detroit's family, and I'm sure it did mean a lot to him, the city did personally. But professionally, he's not gotten the help that he needs, and now he does.
Of course not, yeah.
This Rams team is ready to make a run at a Super Bowl with him and because of him, in comparison to the previous years with Goff.
Yeah, I think he's going to come out and tear it up. I took the Rams. 7.5-point favorites at home. There's no question. Yeah. Like, the Bears defense might show up for a little bit, but just like every other year with their offense not being able to produce, the defense is going to get worn out by the third quarter.
Yeah, it's Rams.
Especially they're going to get worn out when they're down 24. I think this game and the Cowboys-Bucks game, I think both of those could be blowouts, and it could leave kind of a bad primetime taste in everybody's mouth that 2 of the first 4 primetime games are going to be ugly.
Real quick before we move on from you guys, I have my own opinion. How many games before Justin Fields is on the field?
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. Week. I'm trying to look at their schedule right now to tell you.
Week 2, they play Cincinnati. Week 3, they play Cleveland. Week 4, they play Detroit.
Week 4.
When's their bye week?
8.
It's not till
9.
Because a lot of times they like to take them out of that bye week.
It's mid-season. Yeah, it's into the mid-season. It's not early.
I think depending on how the Browns' defense looks, and depending on how Andy Dalton plays, if the Browns' defense, their pass rush looks insane, and Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney combined is scary, there's no chance he plays the Cleveland game. But I think he could play the week after when Andy Dalton gets smushed.
All right, you triggered a mini rant for me, AJ.
Go for it.
I absolutely hate that argument. There is grown men in the NFL every single week. The argument that he doesn't need to play because they're playing Aaron Donald week 1 is ridiculous. The argument that he's got to face Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney in week 3 is crazy. You can't hide him. He's ready to play or he's not.
That's not what I'm saying.
I know that's not necessarily what you mean, but I've been seeing this for 3 months online. So that it's
I think he should be. I think he should be starting now if they're going to start him, but they didn't want to. They didn't want to start him yet. They've got Andy Dalton. They said they were going to start. Freaking tweet that out, QB1, dude. Smart tweet, right? Right before we draft a quarterback.
I hate that you used the perfect word there. They didn't want to start Justin Fields, and that's the most frustrating thing about this whole thing since Justin Fields has been drafted. You have all this excitement, and the coaching staff doesn't want to play him. They don't. They want him to sit, and maybe that's better for him long term. Maybe I'm wrong. I think he should play. Justin Fields has already played in big games. It's not like you're taking a guy like Josh Allen from Wyoming and throwing him to the Wolves in the NFL. He played Clemson. He played Alabama. He's playing good teams week in and week out. I get if he's not ready, but they keep saying week to week that he's ready. He's the number 2 quarterback. That makes 0 sense.
They just try to be so cute with this. Everybody does this. Every single time they have a rookie quarterback, they never lean into it and are just like, let's start him immediately. They always got to march out quarterback X that's going to be terrible and has been terrible for years, and it makes no sense.
It's so frustrating to me because why would you have a game plan that you're putting in concrete when you have the future franchise cornerstone, or what you hope to be at least, without even giving him a chance? If all these players week in and week out, you see these people online, the quotes online from Allen Robinson and Jimmy Graham comparing him to Russell Wilson already. Again, I think that's crazy. That's way too big of a jump. But if you have these players that aren't even shy about how good they think he is right now, why would you already decide your plan in April?
It doesn't make any sense. No. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's really dumb. It's your Bears front office. They're not smart there.
I know.
Matt Nagy's not the brightest.
Well, and it's like it finally felt like a glimmer of hope because Fields just fell into their lap.
Yep.
Like he fell down to 11. I thought they were going to give up 4 freaking first-round picks to move up to 4 to take him. They waited. They were patient. They did the right thing. You only gave up 1 future pick, and it was like, we finally got something going right. And then this entire offseason has transpired, and you're like, oh, wait, no, you're there. You just got lucky. It's cool.
And there are instances where you should have guys that do sit. Like Mahomes, for example, it was pretty obvious out there. People talked about it. There's reports on it still. Go back and look at it. He was not good during training camp at all. He was not ready to play.
He said himself. He said he had no business playing the first part of his season.
Mm-hmm. And they gave it time. They let the veteran play and all that stuff. And that's great. But that's a specific situation. You don't need Andy Dalton to go out there and play. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, wow, that's the first time anyone's ever talked up Alex Smith. When I stood up for Alex Smith about being a Chiefs,
not slander me with anti-Alex Smith talk.
We'll take that to a party chat another time.
It's Andy Dalton. Alex Smith was leading that team to the playoffs for the last couple of years with a fantastic head coach. It's not the same situation, and
was in the MVP race.
Nagy's trying to make it the same situation because he was there. He's the offensive coordinator there, so he's trying to use that as a perfect mold. Newsflash, nothing in life is a perfect mold. Nothing happens the exact same way twice. That's not how it works.
Also, if they march out,
Dalton's not Alex Smith.
If they march out Fields too, part of this I think is they march out Fields and they still suck and Fields is good. That doesn't protect Nagy's job at all. The only way his job's protected here is if he brings him out at the end of the year and they have a little bit of hope. You know what I'm saying?
I disagree entirely.
Really?
I think if Fields plays good at all, Nagy gets to claim it. I'm not saying it's right, but I think he gets to
even if what if he plays well and they keep losing?
I think that's the perfect situation for him. There's no expectations this year. I shouldn't say perfect. Perfect is that they sneak into the playoffs as a wild card team, which isn't going to happen. But that would be the perfect scenario. But yeah, as long as Fields is not bad, I think he's got at least an extra year on top of this year, if not more, just because no one fires their coach right after drafting a quarterback.
Didn't the Cardinals do that?
Okay.
Sorry, Josh Rosen too soon.
Did they do it after or before?
They drafted Josh Rosen and had their head coach in his first year, and then they fired the head coach at the end of the year, and the next year they hired Cliff Kingsbury and drafted Kyler Murray.
Yep.
I will say there's a caveat. If the Bears end up with a first pick, that might be a question.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little asterisk there, but yeah. So I get what you're saying, though.
All right. Final game to talk about. Hunter, I know you've been waiting all night for me to pronounce this team, but we've got the Baltimore Ravens against the Las Vegas Raiders. Baltimore is a 4.5-point favorite. That's the best Chris Berman impersonation I can do.
Whoop.
I can't do whoop. I'm not good enough at whoop.
No one's as good as him. I don't have too much on this game. The Ravens are going to clobber them. Vegas is going to be really bad. Baltimore has been really good at beating up on bad teams the last several years, and it's not going to stop here.
I was doing the ESPN picking the teams against the spread before you guys got on, and it said for the last game of the week, pick how many points are going to get scored in this game. And I looked at it and I was like, all right, Baltimore, are you going to score 35 or 38 or 31? And then Raiders, you're going to score 14 or 17. I was like,
I don't even think it's going to be that much.
You don't think so?
No, I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I think you're looking at 34-10 or worse.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Maybe.
I'm taking Baltimore big.
Yeah,
this could have been a spread of 14 if Vegas didn't feel like being nice to their own team. Oh, that's at Vegas too. That's the first time they get to have fans in the stadium too.
Yeah,
the black hole, baby.
That's why this is Monday night.
Yeah. Oh, I bet Mark Davis is out getting a fresh new haircut today.
What size bowl do you think he uses?
Well, I was gonna ask, does he wash out his cereal bowl before he gets his haircut, or does he eat the cereal after he gets the haircut?
It's after, for sure. Come on now.
What kind of cereal, Hunter? What kind of cereal does Mike Davis eat?
Dude, it's Fruit Loops. He 100% is a Fruit Loops guy.
There's way too much flavor in that. It's corn flakes, not even Frosted Flakes.
That gives him way too much credit for being an adult. Have you seen that hair? Dude, he is 100% eating Fruit Loops.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hunter, I feel like I'm with you there on the Fruit Loops, I think. Maybe even, I think Fruity Pebbles is too childish for him, but it's not a stretch.
But do you think, what about like Frosted Flakes? Like someone convinced him it was healthy, even though it's not.
That's how his mom got him to quit eating like fruity cereal. Like, try Frosted Flakes; they're great.
Real question. What record would John Gruden have to have this year for him to not keep his job?
It's not possible.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting fired.
If he lost every single game this year.
Matter.
No.
Dude, he has 5 years at $10 million a year left.
Yeah, I think if anyone's gonna get let go because of a bad record, it's gonna be Mike Mayock.
Yeah, oh my God, dude, can you imagine? That team is so cheap. They were struggling to finance a stadium that they were already building. You think Mark Davis is gonna write a $50 million check to get a different coach in there? There's no chance.
They're the poorest team in football, and that's because he literally only makes his money off of his NFL team. He doesn't own a business like all of these other people do.
Whack.
That's a good. Hunter, will you look up his net worth?
Mark Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that, actually. He might be the only NFL owner that's not a billionaire.
No, the team is worth more than that.
Okay, listen to this.
Oh my God, you were right.
500 mil.
Am I right?
500 million.
We could start a GoFundMe to own the Raiders.
He's the poorest NFL owner.
Yeah, I knew that.
Dude, that explains the haircut. He can't afford one. He can't afford a real haircut, dude. You've been making fun of some.
Give him the haircut.
I'm pretty sure he sleeps at the stadium.
So the only other one I know off the top of my head that doesn't own another team is the Bears, and that's because it's literally still George Halas's granddaughter. And her net worth is almost 3 times what Mark Davis is. Hers is 1.3 million, and they only own like 80% of the team.
How much does Mark Davis own?
I thought it was all of it.
Ooh, there's one other owner that's has under $1 billion of net worth in the NFL. Can you guess who it is?
You want us to guess the team?
Yeah, guess the team. You won't probably remember the name. Huh?
It's pronounced Fieri.
Wait, is it? Oh, there's one other team?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what team.
One other team whose owner is worth under $1 billion.
It's definitely not Jacksonville.
No, I want to say it's Carolina.
Oh.
No, Tepper was part of Microsoft.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
yeah. 40 million.
They're not a good team. It's a bad team.
Recently bought that team.
It's a yeah.
Is it
it's
Houston?
A bad team?
Yeah, it's a bad team.
Is it Houston?
No. It is the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike Brown.
Oh yeah.
Paul
Have you
Allen.
ever seen? Yeah. Have
Mike
you ever
Brown.
seen?
No.
Oh, Mike Brown?
Yeah, Mike Brown took over for what's his
Paul
name?
Allen. Is that the Seahawks? Maybe.
Paul Allen's the guy from American Psycho. Let's look at Paul Allen's card.
I
Neither
saw
of you know
this
what I'm
thing.
talking about.
Oh, he passed away. Paul Allen
did.
was the Seahawks owner.
The Cincinnati Bengals, their practice facilities, like their practice fields, they have to leave like a facility, walk across the street where they have someone playing traffic cop, and their fields are under an underpass. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anything like or ever seen that or anything, but it's wild. Like the guys have to cross the street at a traffic light to walk out to the fields.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's really bad. I don't remember where I saw that though. It was like Joe Burrow, like waiting for like the light to change and the coach to like the trainer to like, all right, we're good, we can walk now.
They make them walk across like kids that are like holding the rope or whatever the heck. Just like
the rookies have to have leashes on so they don't get lost.
A school crossing guard just sitting there in the road.
What do you do for a living? Oh, I tell the Cincinnati Bengals.
Zach Taylor's walking around, and Joe Burrow has on one of those vest things with like the rope on the back that the kids have, and he's just like holding them. All right, at least the Mannings will make that.
I think that's enough for today's show.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to that. Anyone listening, if you're out there, watch that other broadcast on Monday night on ESPN2 of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. I might watch that whole game if that is entertaining. Like just to sit and listen to those guys talk football.
A blowout might be more entertaining because then you get more Peyton and Eli.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm for sure not turning on the other Monday night cast for a second. Like, nope. I don't care.
Not at all. Alrighty.
You guys got anything else to add?
Nope, I'm good.
No. All right, guys. Week 1, we will be back next week with a rundown of how we did on our picks and picking our next games. But until next week, take it easy. You know where to find us. Hunter's got them everywhere. Have a good week.